There we go. My quality got like much worse for a second there, and then back on. All right, let me start this call. You're the first one here.
Stop recording.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, you're a little. All right, we're probably good.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you fine.
I don't think it's
All right.
lagging on the screen either.
Sweet. All right. Let's get it going here. Reality Gurus podcast, the penultimate recap of the season. Yeah, there you go. I am repping Terrible Towel as a bib. And I guess I forgot to introduce myself. As always, I am Louis Colangelo, and I'm joined by the Patriots to my Steelers, David Mack.
Do not make me out to be a Patriot.
Yeah. No, both Steelers
I hate being a
fans.
Patriot.
Yeah.
I hate America.
Stupid, yeah. Who votes anymore?
Yeah.
But yes, welcome back. How is your first little couple days of your break been, my dude?
Hectic so far. I've been running around a lot.
Yeah.
Doing
Yes.
all kinds of errands.
Yeah. It was long, like day and a half. We kept having to change our plans here. 2 days.
Yeah. We're originally going to record on Saturday, and it's now Monday afternoon.
Right. Yeah. So things have gotten wild here, but we are finally settled in. I had quite a time getting home. It was raining pretty bad, and the rubber on my windshield wipers broke.
Oh, nice.
So on the side of the highway, I was zip tying the rubber to the windshield wiper, and it worked. It got me home, and now I have new windshield. So, Mary.
What did it like scrape your windshield?
No, it's like there's like a little line of like nylon because it's like I got it in like 4 spots, and so like when it sweeps across, like you can get like little ones.
Oh, I think that happened to my car before too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it will come off. If not, I might try to like Windex it off.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll see. All right, so let's get into talking about this episode. So we're doing the recap a little different this week. We have we're going to talk about each person's decisions individually instead of starting right from the top because there's a lot going on and there's a lot to talk about. We don't want to make it even longer than it's already going to be. So let's get into it first here. First thing I want to talk about is, so we got a 3-2 vote. It would have been if David didn't use the title. That it's 3-2. And Davey and Christian both voted for Allison. So my thinking is that it was probably a split vote, even though we didn't really see that come together.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you agree with that?
Yeah, I think I do. And it's just probably like a safety precaution, you know?
Yeah, I think that was probably a good decision. It's kind of weird though because we didn't really see it on the screen, so it seemed like really, like out of left field.
Yeah.
And then it was
usually they kind of edit those things in so you know that like, oh, they're thinking about splitting it. They might be an idle played, but
yeah. Well, speaking of the misdirect, let's talk about Christian's night first because this was probably the quietest night we've seen of him.
Mm-hmm.
And usually the Every Person's Boot episode is one of the ones where they're seen the most.
I was surprised.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. So, like I said, Christian, quiet night. We see the plan that he's on board for is the blind side of Nick, and he's eventually going to vote for Allison. What do you think? What do you think if he does decide to go for Nick here?
I mean, I think he's kind of screwed anyway because he has the numbers against him.
Right.
But like, I mean, I think it doesn't really matter either way. But going for Nick, I don't really know because there's not much he could have done. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I think he was in trouble because Nick is now coming for him.
And
I
Nick
think
has
it probably. I think it probably would be a good move, although you're eliminating a threat and ultimately making your own threat level big.
Yeah.
He's kind of out of options. And if somebody's coming for you hard like Nick is, it's probably an okay decision here.
And I mean, yeah, if you go to get Nick out there, if you're saying like, oh, if he could either pick to vote out Nick or someone else, you might as well vote out Nick because you can't. I don't think Christian could beat him. Well, Christian might be able to beat him actually,
I
but
think if Christian goes to the end with anybody, he wins. So
yeah,
he kind of needed to just survive in advance.
yeah.
But
Do you think Nick would have voted for Christian to win?
I think he would have.
Yeah,
Depends who he's with. I think the only person he votes for instead would probably be Davey because
I think
he's the
Christian
other
might
one.
have won unanimously.
Yeah, if he's there without Davey for sure. If he's there with Davey, I think Davey probably gets Carl's vote. He probably gets Nick's vote.
Yeah, that's true,
Uh,
Carl.
might have Kara. But yeah, I mean, Davey's also played a great game. I feel like Nick isn't one to be like a bitter juror,
Yeah,
but if there are two people that played both great games, even if one was a little better, he'd probably go with who he liked more, which is usually what most people do. So that's not really a knock on him.
hmm
So yeah, Christian, pretty quiet night. Kind of eulogized him a little bit on the emergency press conference. So let's roll along here. We got Kara next. She was also on board to vote off Nick. She ultimately votes for Christian and as part of the vote split. I think that a big part of this is I think a lot of people were on board for the Nick vote, and when Davey was the ringleader of that and then changed his mind,
hmm
that a lot of people just settled on Christian.
I think this is a good move for Kara, voting for Christian instead of Nick,
Yeah,
because I think ultimately, in the end, if you're talking about endgame now, who you're voting out, I think that she has a better chance to beat Nick than Christian.
yeah. It looked from the episode. It's kind of the first time we saw it, but it looked like uh, the like she might have a pretty tight relationship with Davey that we haven't really seen. And either way, you're kind of voting out a strong player that Davey's aligned with. Either way, so
Yeah,
you might as well not push back on whatever he wants and
yeah.
just go with his decision,
Mhm.
which ultimately ended up being to vote out Christian. So yeah, I like it. I think as long as she went with whatever Davey was doing, I think that's probably her best move here.
Mhm.
So let's move on to Angelina, everybody's favorite.
At
So
least our favorite.
yes, my my dad told me one time when I was younger playing baseball that it is better. It's much better to have other people talk about how good you are than to have you talk about how good you are. And the rice was good. It was a good thing to do,
It was.
but it is turning out to be. She thinks it is the greatest thing to ever happen, and everyone
Oh,
else is kind of over
in
it.
her mind, that's the best move of the game. It wasn't
Yeah,
a vote out. It wasn't her making it this far. It was that she got rice.
right. She won rice. She told her
Uh,
mom. Yeah, so she is also going to be in on this split vote. It's tough to talk about what is a good move and what's a bad move for Angelina because I think she's already drawing dead. So it's kind
well,
of like,
I
who
think
does she want to win?
as long as she doesn't go home, it's a good move because her ceiling is getting the stipend for third place.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Yeah, that's exactly right. Um, yeah, we saw her get a little pissed at Davey. She tells Davey, or she says in confessional, that she thinks Davey made $1 million mistake. I disagree, probably.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Look, at that point, I think Final Seven's a terrible spot to win ever anyway,
hmm
because you have you're always going to pick two people and you're going to leave four people at camp while you have you and two other people. So it's never good. Final Six is a great one to win because it's usually you also bring two people. But
Yeah,
yeah, I would not want to bring or I would not want to win that Final Seven challenge. So Davey he put himself in a little bit of a situation there. But yeah, Angelina definitely a little too mad I think. And we see
I
people like
think yeah,
Allison.
I think everyone else will be over it. She's the only one who's like
Yeah,
pissed about it.
yeah, that's like Allison. She was sad about it. There was a secret scene with her that was like, yeah, I was kind of upset I didn't eat, but uh, how about Angelina just bitching? Yeah, I
Yeah,
think her. the her versus Angelina. I've been saying that's an underrated storyline. They hate each other
They
for
do.
sure. Uh, yeah. Okay. So how about Mike here? Mike, the immunity winner for this
Wow.
week.
I was
Yeah.
surprised. That was the
I
biggest surprise of the episode.
yeah.
Mike
Me too.
winning me.
Yeah. So Mike, he is, I think, the player of the episode this week.
I would say,
He the Davy thing happens, and we said last week that I don't like to look into the spoilers too much, or the next time on Survivor
right.
too much, but I we see Nick be told by Mike in the preview for next time that, hey, people are coming for you, and I'm like, he has an idol. Nick's got to be safe, and so like this whole plan is coming together this entire episode. But I had a feeling that Nick was going to be safe, and eventually it's Davey. He tells Kara about his plan. She tells Allison. She tells Mike. This is, I think, indicative of the season so far, where the tribes are doing a good job of working with their original tribes, but also can't get out of their own way in terms of working with their old tribes.
Yeah.
Where this is a move where Allison needs to either put her foot down and vote out Nick without telling Mike, or she needs to tell him if she doesn't want it to happen. She can't tell him and have it also happen. That's not going to
Right.
work. So while I think it's smart for the Goliaths to stick together here, uh, that like every time that they all make a decision together, one of them ruins it for the other ones.
It
And
seems like
so
every time the
even though it's a
Goliath,
good move, one of them always fucks it up, and it's
yeah,
like,
it seems like every time the Goliaths all try to work together, one of them goes home.
right, yeah. uh, and the Goliath of the Davids went home this time. So basically
Second tier.
checked out.
Yeah.
Yes. So he's gonna tell Nick about the plan to vote him out, and but he's really pushing for Christian the entire episode. He has been for a couple weeks, and he finally breaks through the ceiling and gets
Hmm.
his move done. I think this is a really great move for Mike. He takes out a threat, and Mike is in the spot where he could win as long as he gets this person, this person, this person out. We saw it like great comparison. I think would be Adam in Millennials versus Gen X, where he gets Jay out of the final six, then Brett at 5, David at 4, and he's the only threat left. And I
Hmm.
think if Mike can get Christian out here, and then Nick, and then Davey and Kara, I think he could be in a similar spot where he's looking like the odds-on favorite to win the season going
Yeah.
into
I
Tribal.
think I think if he mans a move to get Davey out next, and then final four beats Nick in fire making, he has a good resume.
Yeah, yeah. That Final Four fire making is going to be crucial in this one. We'll talk about a little bit more about who we think might be burned by the fire.
Oh,
Burned by the fire of the other person. That should be, instead of like breaking uh, the little string, you should have
you
to like burn the other person with the fire.
you have to sit under above the other person's fire.
Yeah. Okay, so Mike, pretty good move. Let's go to Allison here. So Allison has, I think, a bad night.
I
Because
agree.
she does leak the thing to Mike. I want to talk about what is Allison is like the biggest question mark for me, because
She's a human question mark.
yeah, I could see her winning, and I also could see her losing in the finals. I could see
She's
people
like,
being afraid of her, voting her out. I could see people not giving a shit and not voting her out. I'm like, I don't know
in
what to
my
think.
opinion, she's like the biggest letdown of the season. Like
Yeah,
she had so much potential, and she started out as being such a good leader, but then just like fizzled out and hasn't really got her footing.
yeah. I mean, she had a huge first episode, and I agree with you that I definitely thought that she was going to be a major player this season. And she's kind of been in like the laurel spot where every episode we get confessionals from her about, should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? And ultimately, she just sits on her hands for most of the season, which I'm not saying that is makes you a bad player necessarily, because there's lots of people where the right move is to stay the course. But
Yeah,
I think the move for her is like she wanted to flip to the David. So you either got to do that when it's impactful, or you got to stick with the Goliaths. You can't stick with the Goliaths until the Davids are about to have power, then flip because it's not impactful anymore.
Right.
So Allison, it has been a letdown, I think. And like I said, I'm confused by kind of her positioning anyway. So I don't really know what is a good move for her and what's not.
Right.
I think either way, it's taking out a person that she can't beat. So, and I guess Christian's been gunning for her the hardest of anyone. So I guess this probably is actually a good move for her. Good job, Allison.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
By default.
Right.
It's like if you take out one of the half of the people left, it's a good move because you can't beat them.
Yeah. uh, okay, so let's talk about Davey here. The two big fish here, Davey and Nick, left to go. So uh, Davey, he had a huge night. First, he plays the game for the idol, and we talked about this live. Probably, we kind of came to the conclusion that we both think it was probably the better move not to
Yeah,
play
I
the
agree
game.
with him not playing it.
Yeah, I liked Chris Noble doing it last season with 13 people left in the game, but small numbers here, and like he said, one vote could be the difference in a 4-3 decision or a 3-3 tie. Especially because at the time he thought that the move was going to be a 4-3 vote against Christian
And it's
or
not
against
like
Nick.
it's not like play the game or you don't get anything. You know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's just your vote. I mean, but I almost feel like a vote could be even more powerful than an idol at this stage. So
Hmm.
unless all of the other votes are for you, then your vote kind of sucks and you want an idol.
And this is like, I mean, this is a pretty easy idle play to talk your way out of. You're like, oh, I had to play tonight, so
Yeah,
I did.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no one's gonna blame him for that.
Uh, yeah, so I actually kind of feel like he probably should have voted out Nick here because this is like one of the only ones that I don't really love the decision. And it's weird because he's the one that reverses course and makes it happen. Is that I think Nick is in pretty tight with Mike and Angelina. And I think that's a tight three. And at six, that's got to command other people to join them, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
And so I think that if he votes out Nick here, all he has to do is like kind of sit idle, maybe get Kara or Allison out, because everyone is going to be down to vote out Christian at some point.
Right.
So you just have to get Christian out at 5 or 6 and then be able to make a fire at 4 if that's what you have to do. And then he's in the final tribal council. I feel like Davey definitely seems like the kind of guy that can make fire. He's like
Yeah.
all about the experience. He's looking for idols all the time. He's seems like he's working really hard at the extra parts of the game. And I feel like part of that is being like, hey, I might have to make a fire. Let me practice for like an hour a day.
You better believe if I'm out on Survivor, I'm making fire all the time.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. And I think it's another thing where people get afraid to target you, maybe at 5 or 6 if you can make fire, because they're like, well, I can't put him in the final 4 fire making because he's gonna win.
Right.
So, and if I target him, like targeting him now, he's gonna expect, and then he's gonna be mad at me if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It could like work that way maybe, but yeah, Davey, I definitely think is a guy that can make fire. Why is my head so itchy? What the fuck? But yeah, so I don't love the move for Davey, but at the end of the day, he's getting rid of a threat, and I think
Yeah. I mean,
there's only one equal threat to him left.
it was one or the other, and it wasn't clear cut either way. So.
Right.
Whatever.
Okay, so let's go to Nick. Lastly, he had an up and down night. I have in my notes: Nick makes fake idol, good. Finds his own fake idol, bad. um, we'll get into this a little bit in segments. I think he should have, because his point is to get people to not look for it. He's either going to make someone else find it or find it himself and be like, oh, I don't want this in the game, guys. Let's just play straight up and like throw it in the fire.
We talked about this a little bit live, and I said right away, I said, why would he make it and immediately find it? Like, that's something where either you're making it to have someone else find it and think that they have an idol, or like you just said, like just more of like a moral move. Like, let's play this. I'm gonna win straight up if I win.
Yeah, right. So
I didn't understand the move.
yeah, I didn't love that from him, and this is gonna be what pisses Davey off at him. So
People
this is almost a
love
game losing mistake.
people love misplaying fake idols. It's their favorite thing to do.
Yeah. uh,
Every season, we gripe about people misplaying fake idols.
yeah. So, but eventually he's gonna tell Davey about it, and it's gonna get the target off his back. He probably should have told him right away. Like, if he thinks he's gonna tell him eventually, he probably should be like, "Hey, I found this idol, but it's fake. I just wanted everyone else to not look for it." Like Davey would appreciate that. Like we saw, he did appreciate it. So, yeah, I think that was probably a miscalculation. And then uh, he at tribal council is gonna play the fake idol, then say he wanted to get a read on everybody, and then he plays the real idol. Uh, he misplays it for sure. He doesn't get any votes. But what's your take on the move itself? Because even I think that playing the fake idol, that's his plan. That's step one. So he has to do that anyway. So he does that. He's not sure how he feels. I say you might as well use the idol because I think there's a very good chance that if another one gets found, it's him or Davey. They know how they're hidden. So I mean, and Davey just played one too, and that's a person that that some of the votes are going on, and if you think that the plan is 3-2 on Davey and Christian, and then Davey uses an idol, and you're like, well, shit, if one person flipped from Christian to me, then I'm fucked. If Davey and Christian maybe are voting for him, so
I read actually that. Oh, yeah, I
research.
know. Did my research.
Yeah,
I read that this was like a lot more of a straightforward vote than it was edited to be.
really.
Yeah, I was reading something. Christian had an exit interview. It wasn't the exit interview, but Christian did an interview with somebody that
Yeah.
I was reading about, and they got some comments from Nick too about that vote. And everyone like he had plans individually with everyone, and like him getting up and playing that idol to get a read on people was like a signal for somebody. Like it was like a lot of show, but it didn't mean much. It was just like, hey, I did what you wanted me to do, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it wasn't like he wasn't actually reading the room I read. He said that like him getting up to do that was like someone else would have made a signal to him whether to actually play the real one or not.
Okay. And he was like not sure if he got it or not necessarily, or he didn't and he did it anyway, or
Yeah, it was a confusing article. I'll see if I can find it for you, or if we can even post it somewhere on Twitter or something.
yeah.
But it was like he had the same plan with two different people, and like they were supposed to give him signals on whether or not to play the real idol or not, so that it wasn't just from one person, that he would know from like
Okay.
multiple sources that he should play it or not.
So he wasn't exact. That's because he does look like he's a little lost up there in
Yeah.
between, where he's like,
Hmm.
and maybe that makes more sense with what Angelina ended up doing is
Yeah.
saying like, hey, I don't think you should play it. Like he looked confused. Maybe she was trying to help him out a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. All right. Uh, so that's it for the recap here. You got to decide. Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry. So uh, let's let's take a break on the podcast because the recording like time limit shit. So to avoid that, we'll stay on Skype here, but we'll take a break real quick on the podcast.
All right.
Can you hear me still?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think. Well, this is loading. I know we're still live, but I'm gonna go grab my computer charger real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, at long last, he is back. All right, let's get another one going here.
All right. All right.
Good. Sweet. All right, let's get into some segments here. So we are going to start with a stat check.
Stat check.
And yes, there we go. The delay did not help us there. Okay, so we heard a lot of talk from Christian about how many votes is, like, how close is he to having the most votes against in a single season. So I did a little research here. So I found it very interesting. The top 4 people in terms of votes in a single season, we have Laura Moret, Blood versus Water. She had 19. Christian this season had 18. And then we have a tie for third. Ozzy in South Pacific had 17. Philip Shepard in Redemption Island had 17. But I thought it was really interesting that so Ozzy received 17 votes, but he was actually voted out 3 times that season, as people will remember, because of Redemption Island. He went there willingly once, then got legit voted out another time, before winning his way back again in Redemption Island, only to be voted out in 4th place. So,
right, so there's a little bit of an asterisk there.
Yeah, and then also Laura Moret was voted out twice in Blood versus Water. She got voted out in the pre-merge, won her way back on Redemption Island, and then was voted out again around 8 or 9, I don't remember. And then came one challenge shy of making it back a second time from Redemption Island. So she was voted out twice. Christian was voted out once, obviously. Philip Shepard was never voted out in Redemption Island. So the top 4, actually, one has been voted out 3 times, one twice, one once, and one was not voted out at all. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah. Then I also have one, Christian. Now this was like me. There wasn't like a list that I could find like that one. I just found a list. This one, I did the math myself. I'm pretty sure I'm right on this, that Christian is tied for the most votes against that are nullified in a season, which is 12. I think Kelly Wentworth also had 12 in Survivor Second Chances. Both from the Double Idols. So this is interesting. But I'm pretty sure that's true. I'm pretty sure.
On the one where he had the idol played on him, how many was that? 7. Because that was like a good chunk of it.
Yeah, and then he had 5 the other time when Nick and them finally tried to vote him out. Yeah, so
that's pretty good.
Right. So if that is right, then that is your stat check.
Stat check.
Yes. All right. So we got a new segment here. People on the street. So at the reunion shows, Jeff loves to say, "David, I've been talking. People in the street are always telling me they love you." And
does Jeff just wander around the streets asking people's opinion? I doubt it.
Where does that even come from? Where does he? Jeff definitely seems like the kind of guy that doesn't love to talk to people.
He's definitely like a dick. Like if you want an autograph, you'd be like, fuck.
Yeah. So we got people in the street this week. we ran a Twitter poll following the episode. It said, so now that our finale is set, who do you guys think is going to win? We had 4 choices. That's the most you can have on a Twitter poll. So we went with Davey, we had Nick, we had Mike, and then we had kind of the field, which is Kara, Allison, Angelina. So our results, Kara, Allison, and Angelina, they split 12% between the 3 of them. So take that for whatever it's worth. Mike had 6%, so both pretty low. And then Nick, 28%, and Davey, 54% of people who voted on the poll think that Davey is going to win the season.
Which we seem to disagree with.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think Davey has almost become the fan favorite because he's wanted to work with Christian, and everybody has a boner for Christian. So
I mean, I like Davey a lot, and I have nothing against him. He's a great player to watch. He's interesting.
Yeah.
He makes moves, But I don't think that he's going to beat Nick.
Right, yeah. I agree. I think if they're both there, I think Nick probably wins, but we'll get into that in a second. Then another segment, new segment. We have what's in the bag. So
I need like little things for these.
Yeah.
Little noises to make.
You could do that for this one.
Yeah, it's in the bag.
So what's in the bag? Lots of things are concealed in bags on Survivor and pulled out at crazy times. Sometimes you keep an idol in your boot, like Ben. Sometimes you keep it in your shoe, like Christian. But sometimes you just keep it in your bag. Sometimes you keep it in your coat.
It out in the open.
Yeah, sometimes you keep it in your coat pocket so everyone can find it. So this week, in the bag, we have fake idols. So I'm wondering what is the play with fake idols? I have a couple scenarios that I think are the
how do you play them
basis.
Successfully?
Yeah, I think I have a couple that are like the basis for how a fake idol can be played. Okay, I got 3 here. So first is you make it and you have it and you try to use it and say, guys, I'm going to play this tonight. So you better not vote for me or else one of you's going home. Okay, you might as well decide amongst yourself. Yeah. I think that's good. That's like Dom at the final 6, where he was not immune, he didn't have an idol, and he was like, or I think he did, but he wanted to save it for 5, maybe, which I think that's right. Geez, that happened like 6 months ago. I can't even remember. But yeah, so he pulls it out and he says, I'm using this. And then after the votes are tallied, he's like, hey, this is a fake. I'm putting my balls on the line here. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So I think that's good. We have another one, which is, I also think is good, which is the hide it, try to get someone else to find it so that they stop looking, which is like the David Wright with Jay in Millennials versus Gen X, where Jay is...
The problem with that is you need to have had an idol already.
Right, yeah.
Because you need the paper. You need the documentation.
Yeah. So, yeah, David, he knew how the idols were hid. They were in the coconuts with the paint. He had found an idol, so he made a fake one, stuffed it in there with the paper, and he led Jay around in the area. They were looking for firewood. Jay saw it, goes back later, finds it, assumes he has the idol, stops looking, and then gets promptly voted out at the final 6 tribal council. So I think that's also good. I think a bad one, there's 2 bad ones. One is what Nick did. I've never seen that happen before. I think he was kind of trying to think of how he could make it work, and he ran out of ideas as to how he could make someone else find it and work as effectively as he originally thought. Mm-hmm. So he kind of maybe panicked a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, having someone else find it is harder than we're making it sound.
Right, yeah, for sure.
Because, what if Angelina finds it, what's that going to
do? Yeah, and then she says, I have an idol, and you don't give a shit about it because it's fake, but you can't tell her.
But you're not going to vote it out anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Right. So there's that, and then the last one, obviously, is, to make a dick out of somebody, which... I never thought I'd talk about this guy on here, but Bob Crowley in Survivor Gabon, he made his fake idol, and everyone's like, "Oh, you should give it to Randy," and Randy's going home anyway, but he gives it to Randy anyway, and Randy gets voted out. Randy's very upset at him, and he almost loses the game because of it. I think
That's
4-3 vote. Yeah, Randy is the
that's
deciding vote.
that's a pre jury type idol play.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, you never do that, but yeah. Um,
If you really don't
okay,
like somebody.
yeah. All right, so we are gonna have some bold predictions here, but let's get into our player rankings before we do that. Um, so player rankings a little different this time. We did this around the merge too, I think, where this is we ranked based on winner equity today and not, least likely to go home, anything like that, which is what we usually base it off of.
Mm-hmm.
So winner equity going into the finals here. Uh, I think we've made it pretty clear who we think the front runners are, but we'll go through it anyway. Talk about everybody's game a little bit here. So let's start with our number 6. You had her at number 6. I had her at number 6. It's Angelina. Uh,
We
is
can't talk enough bad about her.
is there a way that Angelina can win this game?
No, there's not a way. Like I said
Yeah,
before, her ceiling is 3 to get that stipend.
yeah. I think she had a really strong pre-merge. She was kind of, I think, where it all fell apart for her was the Elizabeth vote, where she kind of panicked and had like this big freak out, and then she lied to everyone else about the jury pandering thing, and was then left out of strategy for a long time until the Gabby vote, and even then she wasn't commanding
And I mean,
any kind of. She had no social equity.
she, while she was in on votes prior to that and kind of in the mix, she hadn't really been a leader of a tribe since Natalia got voted out.
Right? Yeah, yeah, and she's she's been kind of resurrected recently, I think. I still think she spent too much time out of the loop to be able to make a convincing case as to why she should win. And not, besides the fact that she probably doesn't have a great case to win, she also is
Like,
not well liked and not respected, which I say are the two things you have to have at least one to win the game. And I think
like
she has neither.
if the finals were 2 people, she might beat Allison, maybe.
Yeah, could see it
But
possibly.
like she couldn't beat another person, so it doesn't matter, you know. Like she's not gonna
Yeah,
beat Kara, Davy, or Nick, you know. So it
I
doesn't
think
matter.
the biggest problem with Angelina is that obviously, no one does anything that's not really that doesn't have a motivation behind it. But I think her motives are always so clear. Allison said it last episode, or maybe it was a secret scene, that she's just so transparent. Like you can always see exactly what she's trying to do, and
Mhm.
no one likes to be other people's henchmen, even if you.
She's like I have a Christian like analogy here.
Let's hear it. Yeah.
She's like a kid playing hide and seek. Like they're hiding like behind I don't even know what are kids hide behind. They're hiding like in the middle of the room with a blanket over them,
Yeah.
and everyone's like, "Oh, where are they?" And they're like, "I got them now. I know they're not knowing where I am." And then everyone just
It's like
plays
playing
along.
peekaboo with a baby. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone just plays along, and then they're like, "Oh, that's where you were. We had no idea." And then she's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm smart."
Yeah. That's perfect. Yeah. Actually. Uh, so yeah. I have. Let's mix our bold predictions in here as we do each person. We'll do
Okay.
it. So, uh, as we said, Angelina probably can't win. My prediction for her is I think she's gonna be third place. I think she's gonna go to the finals and get 0 votes. She might get one from John. So that's my pick for her. Where do you think she
Yeah,
finishes?
I agree with that. Third, I think is because there's no point in anyone voting her out
Right.
because you don't want because anyone else might get votes in the final, more
Yeah.
votes than her.
That's got
So
to be annoying if you're trying to play the game and it's like that like this person over here is not going to win, but they're still like trying to influence strategy. It's like fuck, just
yeah,
let me play here.
yeah, it's frustrating for her too. I don't know if she sees it or if she's too vain, but uh, to see that like she's not going to get voted out and she'll
Right.
just get no votes in the end. You know, she might as well just ride it out, eat all
Yeah.
the rice.
Okay. So let's go to number 5. I have this person at number 4. You had him at number 5. Why don't you get us started on Allison? Is there a path for Allison?
I think there is. I think if if she takes Mike and Angelina to the end and has a good, I think she can talk her way into people voting for her. I think she's one of the people who, if you end up in the final three with Mike and Angelina, that you can convince people of your vote. Their mind's not going to be made up already going into
Right.
final tribal. It's
Yeah.
kind of up in the air. I think she could convince them, you know, but that's also taking out three of the best players left.
Yeah. Uh, let's look at the arc here for Allison. I have a lot of notes on her. So, uh, she seems like people out on the island talk about her as a formidable opponent here, but she's lacked an edit. And we saw Sarah win with a small edit, but I don't think that's going to happen twice over the span of 4 seasons.
Hmm.
Um, in addition, I talked a little earlier about how we've seen her kind of be like pretty wishy washy, which usually we see the winners kind of say, I'm thinking this or this maybe for this vote, and they put their foot down and they do something. Where Allison, we see her wavering over like one decision for like 3 weeks, which is like, oh, when do I
Yeah.
flip? So I also think she's lost a ton of leverage since the Gabby vote. It looked like she was slowly getting into a really good spot
Hmm.
that she
If
could
she
be
was,
a. Go ahead.
if she took out Gabby, then she'd be a serious like.
Yeah, I think that was actually the biggest hurt to her game because they were they're one of the tightest twos in the game, and it looked like her, Christian, and Gabby could possibly be a three,
Hmm.
and then over the span of 2 weeks, Gabby gets voted out, and she is now Christian's number one target.
Hmm.
So she she was pretty low on the totem pole, and then she was climbing, climbing, climbing. It looked like she was finally going to get into a position where she could really control the game, and a lot got taken away from her pretty quickly here. Um, so I think her path to the end, as you kind of said, is probably to sit with Mike and Angelina. Maybe Kara. It depends. I think Kara's, yeah, pretty well liked.
Yeah,
Um,
that's her problem. Like, if we look at the jury, I don't really know. Are they going to vote with who they like or who they think's a better player? I mean, Kara's by no means a bad player,
yeah,
but I don't know if they're going to think that Kara's game or Allison's game is better.
yeah, and I think in terms of liked and respected, I think that she's respected for sure, and she seems pretty well liked.
Hmm.
And she seems like a really nice person.
Yeah,
Uh, so uh, let's get a prediction here. I think that she's going out fifth or sixth. I'm gonna guess sixth here.
I think she's going out next too.
Yeah. Although with everybody going against Davy, maybe Davies. Nah, we'll get to that later. So
Hmm.
fifth or sixth, but I'm gonna land on sixth here. Okay, so we'll look at our list here. Up next, we got a person. You had him at number 3, and I had him at number 5. Uh, Mike White. Mike is an interesting cat here. Um,
Hmm.
I
To say the least.
Yeah, he's in a weird spot where I could see him making it to the end and sweeping the votes, and I could also see him getting to the end and getting no votes.
Right.
So what do you think is more likely to happen here?
I think it's more likely that he gets to the end and gets no votes, but that's through no fault of his own. I think it'd just be through who he's sitting next to. But
Yeah,
I mean, again, like most of these people, Mike can get to the end and sweep.
yeah, he's a great talker for sure. He's a
Yeah,
storyteller.
like
Yeah,
he's almost in the same boat as Allison votes wise. Like he could get to that final tribal and convince everyone that he's been the best player the entire season and everyone would vote for him. I
yeah,
think his way to the end is the same way as Allison's, which is kind of weird to say that they both could win
yeah. But
with
I
the
do.
same
I
people.
agree. I think it's a toss up. Yeah,
But like I think it's really if you looking at them if you're looking at them two, I think it's really how they talk at the end.
Yeah. So Mike, he's been kind of a master of keeping the target off of his back this season, and on top of that, he's also made some pretty huge moves, some game-altering decisions over the course of the game. We have him voting off Lyrsa at Jabini, which doesn't seem huge, but at the time, remember, it was 2-2 at Jabini, and in the game, it was 7-7 in terms of Davids and Goliaths. He ultimately gets Nick to agree to that. Lyrsa goes home. I think if Lyrsa's there, Elizabeth probably is not the person to go at the merge. Not saying that Lyrsa is necessarily, it just changes the entire dynamic.
Right.
So he had that. The Gabby vote off, he was a big part of. That was huge. And he just orchestrated the Christian vote. So there's a lot of big decisions that come down to what Mike decided. And I feel if I was a juror, what I would probably vote for is who imposed their will on the game the most. And
Yeah, and it's
there's
not like
definitely a case to be made for Mike there.
there is. And it's not like he didn't get the credit for those per se, but he definitely had like one of the biggest says in them.
Yeah. Mike's big problem is that he already has money, and they know this.
Yeah.
So there might be one of those things where they don't really want to give it to a person that's rich, and that kind of plays in, but it wasn't the main reason why I said I think his path to the win is sitting with Angelina and Allison, which, like you said,
They're both
is
Goliath.
also Allison's path. I think it is a toss up. Allison is a doctor. That's probably the only other person who's as high profile money wise as Mike. So that could negate that a little bit, and then it turns into who played the best game. And I think if Mike can tell his story well, that the argument could be made for him. So I think that's
Personally,
probably the way for Mike.
personally, if I think that Mike played the best game, I'm still. It's not about the money, you know. At that point,
I would vote for a rich person to win if I thought they played the best game.
because that's why you're playing. You know, if he knew that he wasn't going to win in the end anyway, why would you even play?
Right? Yeah. Exactly. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely agree there. Um, I think Mike is very well liked. I think he's the funniest person in the season, to be honest, and I think he's pretty well respected. So he has those qualities that could get him votes. I went first a couple of times, so let's hear your prediction for Mike.
I think that Mike gets beat in the fire making.
Ooh, okay. So you think fourth place for Mike?
Yeah.
Okay. My prediction for Mike is I think he's going to the final tribal council. He's going to take second. I I think that depending on who he's sitting with, he could have more of a chance of winning versus not winning. But based on who I think would be around at like the final four, I think he'll be drawing dead by then.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get to that in a little bit, but yeah. Okay, so I got him at second. You got him at fourth. We finally disagree. That's good. Yeah.
For what?
Yes. Okay. So let's hop into our number three person. I have her at number three. You have her at number four. We have Kara here, rolling in at third. I think Kara is actually very. I think she's been underrated by us, actually, where we were really high on her at first, and then we kind of dropped her down a lot and didn't talk about her much because she kind of seemed to lose some social capital. She seems like the kind of person where she makes one move, she's very well liked. She could walk away with the money. What do you think?
I think again, she has. I mean, I'm gonna say this for every single person that they have to be sitting with the right people. Besides, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
besides Davey, if Dave, I think Davey might beat Nick in the end. He might get more votes. But anyways,
Yeah.
we'll get there.
Okay.
But I think that uh, Kara could win, but it's tough for me to make a case for her because we've been down on her this season. Not even down, just like we've underrated her
Yeah.
a little bit, and I don't really know if she has the resume for it. Technically,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, we've definitely seen people in the past on Survivor that didn't seem like they had the resume going up against people who definitely had the resume, and the more likable, less kind of
That's
savvy person got the win.
that's true. Reading the jury though, I don't. I think they'll vote for the better player.
I think this is definitely a jury that's going to respect gameplay.
Yeah. So I don't think that she can make it to the end and win it because people like her.
Yeah. Um, let me break down Kara real quick. She had a pretty strong pre-merge. She was up in our top five consistently until Natalia was voted out, and it looked like she could be the next to go on that swapped tribe. Um, and then she kind of stabilized, and then she lost pretty much all of her leverage in the game when Dan and Alec went home back to back. Um, those were her pretty much her two biggest allies left
Mm-hmm.
at that point. So she's been somewhat of a floater, and it's interesting because similar to Allison, she's never made a move that has put her in the driver's seat. Like I've heard Tyson say that his theory for why or for how to win the game is to kind of try to sit under the radar and then right near the end make a move, not necessarily a big move, but a move that puts you in the driver's seat to control the end game because most people could still win the game even after not being, the biggest strategic player of the
Mm-hmm.
season as long as they're sitting next to the right people.
Right.
If you put yourself in a position to decide who goes to the end, then there's a pretty good chance you could be the one who walks away with the money there.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, I think she's decently respected and she's really well liked. She might be the nicest person I've ever seen in my whole life. So uh, so in terms of her path, I have on my sheet who does she need to sit with to win, and then I said anyone question mark because I think there is a chance that she could sit next to Davey or Nick and win the game. I don't know that I would necessarily bet on it, but I
Mm,
mean, you think about
it
who's
could
on the
happen.
jury.
It could happen.
Yeah, you think about who's on the jury. I Dan's a little upset at her, but he I think would still probably vote for her. John's not super close with either of those guys really, so he could vote for her. Alec I think would definitely vote for her. I could see Allison voting for her if Mike's not there. If Allison's not there, Mike could vote for her. Uh, there's a lot of votes that she could get, and on a 10-person jury, that's like five or six that I just said that she could have,
Mm-hmm.
and she seems like a person that's a pretty good talker. She's not confrontational to the point where she's not gonna, talk someone out of voting for her. She's only gonna
Right.
talk people into it. So I think Kara could have a good chance at winning. And I mean, there has to be a scenario
Right.
where Davey and Nick go home fifth and sixth, and at that point, who wins? I think Kara's probably the front runner there.
I
And
agree.
then because I mean, especially we've talked about Mike and Allison. They need to sit next to each other at Angelina, and if all three of those people like that's their best case scenario, and
Mm-hmm.
Kara's not included in that, then that means Kara would have to be in the best
She
spot there.
she has the most she's the most volatile at the last tribal council.
Yeah, yeah. I think she's in a better spot than we've given her credit for in the past couple weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, I do think if the Davids can get wiped out and she's sitting there with three Goliaths, any two of the other three, I think she wins the game.
I also think, yeah, I think prior to what you just said, we may have been being a little biased because of how we would vote personally, you know? Because,
Yeah,
me and you would never
it's
vote for
true.
someone to win the game just because they're nice.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you could be my best friend in the world. Like, if me and you went on there and, we're really good friends, you know, I wouldn't vote for you just because you were nice to me if you didn't play a good game. No offense, you know?
Fuck you.
I'd
It's
vote
like
for, fuck you. Yeah, I'd vote for the person who played the best game. It's
yeah.
nothing against you. It's just, I think
Right.
that's why you play Survivor.
For the record, I would play the best game.
Yeah. So it's no
uh,
question.
yeah. Okay. So uh, let's get Kara predictions. I think I know where you're gonna go here, based on what you just said about Mike. Where do you see Kara finishing?
I see her beating Mike in the fire making.
Wow. Really? Okay.
Yeah.
And
Is that not what
so
you thought I was gonna say? What you thought I was gonna say?
I thought you were going to say she's in Final Tribal. I did not think you were going to say that she would be the one to take Mike out.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
So
interesting.
all right. So far, I say that I've said that um, we've said that Allison could go home fifth or sixth.
Yeah.
Right. So I think
And
she
you,
goes home sixth. I say that,
okay,
and then I've said that Angelina's third place. And what did I say about Mike?
fourth.
Fourth. Yeah, and I've said that Kara beats.
So is Kara first or second?
She's my second place finisher.
Okay, that's what I thought you were going to say.
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect you
Yeah.
to say she would be the fire maker winner.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting because I think she's going to lose the fire making challenge.
That is interesting. To who? Have we not talked about him yet?
Yeah, I don't think we've talked about the person I think is going to beat her.
Hi, Mom.
Can I come in?
We're doing something right now. I'll talk to you a little bit, okay?
Okay.
My mom just got home.
Yeah.
Oh, rapping.
No.
Oh,
No.
Okay. That would have been good.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I think she's going to come in fourth. Yeah. I think she's going to come in fourth, and I think that she is going to be put on the jury in the fire making challenge by my eventual winner. So we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
So, two left. I think seems like we both think they're going to go out fifth. One of them's going to go out fifth, and one of them is going to win the game.
Yep.
Let's talk about our number two here. Second for me, second for you. Davey Rickenbacker. Why don't you start? He's your number one overall pick in Fantasy Survivor.
Ended up being a good pick.
Yes. Do you
You
see
were
him?
surprised when I took him first overall.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, he turned out to be really good. Yeah. So do you see him taking it all the way and making it a very solid number one overall pick, or is he going to fall short?
See, I think he has a very good. If they don't get him out in the next two votes, he wins.
I agree.
So,
Especially if one of the two people that gets out is Nick.
Yeah, I think
But even
honestly,
without, I think he could win.
Yeah, I honestly think regardless of who goes out in the next two votes, Davey wins. But I think that he will end up going out fifth.
Yeah, I agree. Davey is. I'm picking him to finish fifth. He's done a lot this game. He's found idols and advantages. He probably the biggest move of the game was when he saved Christian and kind of flipped the game from being a pagonging by the Goliaths on the Davids to kind of a bit of a battle, which turned into the Davids completely flipping the game. So there was that. Couple knocks on him. He's been left out of a decent amount of votes here. He got left out of. We saw him get left out of that first vote, which doesn't really matter that much, I guess. But we also saw him get left out of. No, I can't even think of one. He's left out of the Gabby vote. No, that's not right. He's left out of the Carl vote. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then also the Christian vote here. And he seems, as the only other person that voted with Christian, he seems like possibly the biggest target here. So none of that's very good.
Yeah.
I also was wondering, has he made too many moves? I wrote that, and I don't really remember why I was thinking it.
I think that might go along with him being a big threat.
Yeah.
Because if he has a good resume, and I think like these other people can kind of like we said, they can talk their way into it because they're good talkers, not because they have a good resume, you know. And I think Davey could say they can say whatever they want. I've influenced the game the most.
Yeah, I think that. I think what I was thinking there was that time at the final 7 on that reward or final 8 maybe on that reward challenge where Angelina, Mike, Nick, and himself were were there, Gabby or Christian was going to be the one to go, and it looked like those four could take it down to the final four. In which case, if he makes fire or gets taken or wins that immunity, he's sitting in that final four. And if he's there with Mike and Angelina, he definitely wins.
Hmm.
It would be different for sure if he was there with Nick than now because I think he's influenced these last couple votes a lot. So that would definitely be interesting. But yeah, I think he was in a position where he could sit pretty. He's decided to instead make moves to win the game instead of sitting on his hands and trying to not lose the game.
Hmm.
And I mean, I guess,
I respect it.
yeah, I talk about that in like football and stuff like that. I think I respect that. I guess so that makes sense.
Yeah. All
um,
right.
and like we said, liked and respected. I think both very much. So I think he's definitely a person that could command those votes at the end of the game. Um, so in terms of who he wins against, you said you think he could beat anybody.
Hmm.
I think I think he goes toe to toe with Nick. I'm not sure who I would say would win. It would definitely depend on the Davids. I think like Carl is a guy that's like in between. I would think he would go with Davey. I
I
don't
think
know
so
though.
too.
I think Christian would go with Davey. I think Gabby would go with Nick. And then there's a lot. We didn't see either of those two really do that much of cross tribe alliancing.
Right.
So it would be tough to try to nail down the Goliath ones. Also, another David Elizabeth, I think, would probably vote for Nick.
Mm-hmm.
Thoroughbreds. So there we go. All right. So we both are saying fifth place
Hmm.
for Dave. Okay. So let's get into our final last person that we're going to rank all season, and it's pretty fitting. He's been at the top of our list every single episode except for one after the merge. It is a person I have at number one, and you have a number one. Kentucky Nick Wilson.
Hmm.
Obviously, we both have a number one, and we have both not yet set our winner. So we both think that he is the winner of the season.
We do.
Um, I'll start off with Nick. I think that I don't think anyone has made more key decisions in the game than Nick. Uh, he got Jessica out at the Davids. Him and Christian were making that decision, but ultimately, if Christian is with Gabby, who's with Elizabeth and Lyrsa, he is the one in the middle making that
Hmm.
ultimate decision. He decided the fate of the David tribe's complexion moving forward, which I think is not underrated because they lost another person, which turned out to be B. And yes, she quit, but you got to think that if Jessica's still there, something happens in the universe where B doesn't hurt herself,
Right.
and maybe they might lose another person. And I think it could be Gabby. So that's interesting.
Hmm.
Um, in addition to that, she voted out Lyrsa, or not she, he voted out Lyrsa at Jabini. Um, not sure what I really think about that decision. I think he really solidified his relationship with Angelina and Mike, which looks like it could be the relationship that gets him to the final three here. In addition, him, John, and Christian were the ones who split votes, or him, Davey, and Christian were the ones who split votes on John to get John out. He used the vote steal. He split votes on Gabby with everybody. He split votes on Christian and Davey. Uh, and so, yeah, he's made a lot of game moves. I think it's also a thing that we've been talking about, and a reason why we've had him so high is that everyone seems so comfortable with him. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, we got an alliance going on over here. Uh, hey, we probably have a good number of people, but you want to get naked on this? It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
we love Nick, of
Yeah.
course.
He
So
has. He's like not a threat, but he's the biggest threat. He doesn't seem like a threat to anybody. I don't know why.
he really is a really
That
lethal
Southern
survivor
charm.
player. Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, everyone feels so comfortable with him. I think he's well liked, and his game will be definitely respected. Um, Path to the end, I think he kills Mike, he kills Angelina, he kills Allison. I think he beats Kara handily, although I could see a world where Kara gets around half the votes. I think between him and Davey, it's close. like I said, we don't really know where those Goliath votes would go, which would be the deciding votes.
Mhm.
So that's
All
tough to
right.
gauge. But
So
yeah,
yeah, Nick. I think he beats anyone but Davey. I think that by process of elimination, that's what I've said, and I agree with it. It wasn't just
right.
for that reason, but
Yeah.
um, so I'm gonna go ahead and run down again totally who I think goes out where.
Yes. Let's do it.
So I think Allison goes out next, and
As
then
do
I
I.
think they say, "All right, crap, we need to get out Davey because he's gonna win."
Yeah.
So they vote him out. Because I don't think they're gonna. Again, they're not gonna suspect Nick. They're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, Nick's with us. He can't beat any of us, or
Yeah.
he's too nice for us to vote him out, or something." I don't know. But they get out Davey, and then this is a bold prediction. I say that Kara beats Mike in fire making.
That would be cool. Yeah. So
That's
okay,
my
well,
pick.
in that situation, that would mean that Nick or Angelina would have to win immunity and take the other. I'm guessing you would think. I don't see anyone bringing Nick to the end. So do you think
No, I think Nick
Nick
takes
wins
it.
that immunity and takes? Okay,
I think
I
so.
would agree with that. Okay.
Yeah, and then I think Angelina takes third, Kara takes second, and Nick takes first.
Okay. I actually, in thinking of mine, I think Nick is the one who beats Kara, and
Okay.
I think that that would mean Mike or Angelina wins that final immunity. I think Angelina wins that last immunity. That's what I'm going to go with.
Interesting.
No idea what it is. It's going to be something that involves a little bit of athleticism and some puzzle making, most likely. And I think that's her skill set. So that could definitely be interesting. I'll run down mine real quick.
Yeah,
I
because
got
the fire making's pretty much up in the air because of the immunity. You know,
yeah, yeah,
so it's our best guess.
right. So I got Allison sixth, Davey fifth. I could see them flipping,
Yeah, me
and,
too. They can go either way.
and I want to talk about that real quick right after I'm done with this. And then I got Kara four, Angelina zero vote finalist, third place. Mike might get one or two. I think maybe Allison is one that would vote for him, and possibly Kara. And I have Nick as your winner. I'm gonna say with 9 of 10 votes.
Ooh,
Okay, and also the thing with Davey, I think Nick is in a perfect spot here because Davey's gonna respect a move that gets him out.
hmm
You can tell he's a person that's gonna respect the big moves. So you could have. It seems like everyone has been against Davey and Christian here now. So could we see a unanimous Davey boot at 6, and then the group of Nick, Mike, and Angelina roll on, eliminate Allison at 5, and then Kara at 4? I think that could also be a
we
likely
could. Yeah,
scenario.
it's very possible. I mean,
There's also a
I
chance Davey finds an idol at 6.
yeah, that's that's true.
Yeah.
Would he vote? Do you think they go unanimous on Davey? He pulls out an idol. Who's he vote for? Nick.
I don't think they go unanimous because I think he'd vote out Nick. Yeah. Um, I think to to be safe there, they probably recruit. I think they probably tell Kara and Allison that it's Davy. They both vote Davy. Davy votes for somebody. All three of them, like one of them votes Davy, two of them vote maybe Allison,
Yeah.
and maybe Allison is the contingency plan. That would be funny if after Allison told Angelina she was a contingency plan, that
Mhm.
Allison gets idled out as the contingency plan.
That'd be funny.
Yeah. Okay. So uh, we've covered a lot. One last thing. We haven't talked about it as much as I thought we were. I thought we were going to talk about this like every week, but Fantasy Survivor. We're winding down here. Um, we got the Survive Horrors, David Mack's squad here,
hmm
uh, sitting at 561 points, and the Tribal Consuls, that's my team, at 640. So I got about an 80-point lead here, but surviving the next vote will get like 15 points per person, and
hmm
like we got immunities, idols, we got bonus
Winner.
for yeah, bonus for making it to final tribal, bonus for winning. So a lot of points left on the board. I have Nick and Kara left. You have Davey, Allison, Angelina, and Mike. So pretty
I'm
interesting.
banking on Nick here, or on
Yeah.
Davey. I mean,
And actually, what's interesting is uh, you picked Davey first overall, and as of this recording, he is the number one point getter.
oh,
Yeah, him and
like I knew
Christian
what I
were
was doing.
him and Christian were pretty close, and then between finding that idol, surviving that tribal, and Christian being voted out, he overtook Christian. So there you go. Let's get a pick here. Who do you think's going to win this?
I think you're gonna. I think you're gonna take it. I think you just have, even though you have less players, I think you have better quality players.
Yeah, I think that at this point I have enough of a lead that as long as Kara doesn't go out in sixth and you get like a lot more like points for just surviving,
Mm-hmm.
I think I think as long as she survives one and Nick wins, I think I'm in good shape.
Yeah, I think so.
I will be in trouble if Nick goes out in like fifth and Davey wins though.
Yeah,
Figgity fucked in that
yeah.
case. Okay, so let's put a bow on this here.
All right.
We covered a lot. It is a little late. We are sorry about that, of course.
Yeah.
But so this week, Survivor finale, 2 hour finale, will of course be live tweeted by myself. Um, you can follow those live tweets by following the podcast's Twitter page at The Reality Gurus. You can also follow me at Louis_CO3. And you can follow Dave at BigMax22. You can watch, if you're listening to just the podcast version, you can watch the video version of the podcast, our beautiful split screen Skype call here.
Yes.
On YouTube. Our channel is The Reality Gurus. Anything else here?
Um,
Where we split?
do you want to do? I think we have done chains. Did we didn't do those yet?
Oh, that's big. That's big.
That's big.
I forgot that. Yeah. So done chains. I have to pick between Mike and Nick. You got to pick between Mike, Nick, and Davey.
I think we're picking the same person.
Yep. I think we're both going with Mike here.
Yeah,
Right.
we have
Yes.
to. I don't think there's a scenario. It's tough for him to win. He has to talk his way into it and be there with
Yeah.
the right people. That two contingencies.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going with Mike as well. My pick Christian paid off huge.
It did.
Oh my god.
If you
would've been-
remember, I debated. He was my. I debated done chaining him, but I said in my hot take that he can't win, and he went out the next week.
Yeah. Look at that. Ooh. Flex those muscles for the people. Yeah, and like as you said that, I remembered I wanted to talk about something else, but I forget it now. I'm pissed off at myself that I can't remember it. Oh yeah, coming some programming news here. So, the Survivor finale is the 19th. I'm thinking we're probably going to do our recap. Like, what's Christmas? Like Monday?
Tuesday.
Okay. Yeah, so at some point between like Thursday and Sunday, we'll probably get together on here again and break that one down. And also, one that I'm really excited for, our first ever bonus coverage is going to be the Survivor Superlatives for David versus Goliath.
That'll be fun.
We're going to have we got categories, we got nominees.
I might wear a tux.
Dude, we should definitely do that.
Like the Dundies. We'll run out an Applebee's.
Right, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, that'll be coming to probably sometime between Christmas and when we said we were getting back to our natural habitat, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
At
I'm still in
the
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
'Cause I live here.
University of Pittsburgh. There you go.
Right.
And probably, in all likelihood, it would be between New Year's and then, I would assume.
Yeah, I think so.
And then after
'Cause
that,
I'll
we're
be in DC between Christmas and New Year's.
yeah, okay, and I'll be in New York, so there's lots
Set
of
up a
programs.
meet and greet for all our fans in DC.
Yeah. Okay. And then let me. Oh, I just had something and I lost. Dude, I'm like all over the place right here.
You are.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Oh yeah, but all I was going to say was that after the 7th, we are going to get right into our Celebrity Big Brother preseason coverage. That's going
Hmm.
to be fun. I feel like Celebrity Big Brother is like it's pretty goofy. It's going to be pretty fun to
Yeah.
cover. Yeah.
And I'm not as familiar with Big Brother as I am with Survivor, so I'll have some learning to do. I mean, I've watched it
Yes.
before, but I'm not super
Yes.
uh, in on the strategy.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely might have to give you a Big Brother 101.
Hmm.
Or yeah. So, but either way, that'll definitely be fun. And now,
Wrap
and
it up.
remember, yes, uh, meet new friends, tie some yarn. Okay.
That's how you do the
Uh,
start.
yes. So remember, so pretty much here, if Nick does not win, the hair's gone for me.
Yep.
If Nick or Davey does not win, so pretty much if Kara wins, then the hair's gone for both of us.
Yeah.
So high stakes here. I think we are
I
in
think we're good.
just a good enough spot here.
Yeah, I think we're.
I think we're gonna survive. uh, but yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely likely, and I wouldn't say likely. There's a definitely.
Maybe I'm not
Like
sure.
2 minutes.
Okay, because I'm not sure how long the passport picture people are there.
I think there's definitely a chance that Davey wins and Nick's gone. So I think I'm definitely more at risk here, but I think you're safe for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Let's wrap it up. As I just said, YouTube channel is The Reality Gurus. You can follow Dave, Big Max22 on Twitter. You can follow me, Louis underscore CO3. And the podcast page is The Reality Gurus. No underscores, no spaces, no nothing. If you follow me on there, I'll follow you back. For those who get on the
There
ground
you
floor.
go. Little
Yeah.
bonus.
Yep, there we go. So that is going to do it for the penultimate David versus Goliath recap. Uh, Dave, I will talk to you later,
Yep.
and I will, and not I, we will see all of you guys next time.
See ya.
Oh shit, I gotta unlock my phone. Fuck.
Bye.
There we go.
All
All right,
right.
good shit.
Yeah, that was good.
How do I stop the recording?